ready to go.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Metro Outer Development Assessment Panel meeting of the 8th of August. My name's Tony Arias, and I'm presiding member. I'll introduce the other panel members. Leo Donoghue, who's deputy presiding member, and Don Syme, who's a specialist member. In relation to Part B of the agenda, which is City of Kalamunda, we have Mayor Thomas and Councillor Ritchie, local government representatives. Part C of the agenda, City of Rockingham, Mayor Hamblin and Councillor Dex. And helping us with the meeting today, we have Laura Simmons and Ashley Kelly from the DAP Secretariat. I will apologise for commencing the meeting late. Unfortunately, technical problems, but we've hopefully had those sorted. And with that, I will formally declare the meeting open at 9:46 and acknowledge traditional owners and pay respects to elders past and present of the land on which the meeting is being held. Panel members may refer to technical devices throughout the meeting to assist in considering the information. And this meeting is being recorded and live streamed in accordance with Regulation 40(2)A. Item 2, apologies, we have Neil. Item 3, members on leave of absence, we have Neil. Item 4, noting minutes, which is just for information that previous minutes are on the DAP website. So we move to Part B of the agenda, which is City of Kalamunda. Item 1 is declarations of due consideration. Members, are you able to please confirm that you've duly considered the documentation provided within Part B of the agenda and Part B related information? If you could declare that by raising hand. Or duly declared, thank you. Item 2 is disclosures of interest. We've got Neil to date. Local government members, just a reminder that standing orders require where an item's gone to a council meeting that declarations need to be made. I'm not sure whether that's the case with this item. If someone can confirm that, please.
We have no declarations of interest.
Okay, thank you. So duly noted. We move to item 3, which is Form 1 applications, and specifically item 3.1, which is lot 193 and 194 Hale Road, Wattle Grove, for childcare premises, medical centre, consulting rooms and shop. We have 2 presenters, Rahul Patel.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Yep. Good morning, Rahul. Just for information, standing orders provide for a 3-minute presentation, and I'll remind you when 3 minutes is up and there's opportunity for questions. So over to you, Rahul.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So a brief summary of what I'll be presenting. My presentation will address, it's a request for alternate entry-exit for the childcare facility from Wimbridge Road for the safety, security and accessibility of kids, parents walking to Wattle Grove Primary School. The major concern is that as per the development proposal 5.3.4 planning bulletin 72/2009 childcare centers table 9 page 19, it clearly states that childcare centers will generally not be suitable where access is not from a major road or in close proximity to a major intersection where there may be safety concerns. In this case, the access is from major road, that's Hale Road. Hale Road is a major road and the access is from there, as well as in close proximity to a major intersection of Hale Road and Wimbridge Road. So I've seen the report and the proposal. So this clause has conveniently been ignored in both the reports by saying that it complies, which in fact it doesn't. And second is that second point of the same clause is access is from a local access street, which may impact on the amenity of the area due to traffic and parking. In this case, access is from local access street Wimbridge Road, which will have a major impact on the amenity of the area due to overload of traffic during peak school and daycare drop-off and pickup times. I just want to bring it to attention is that the entrance and exit of the proposed childcare with a full movement crossover is proposed along Wimbridge Road, which is just 30 meters from the Hale Road intersection. This is a major safety concern due to the entry exit of the childcare facility on Wimbridge Road, as it's close to a major intersection. And during peak times, you would see that the cars are banged up right till Hale Road through to Wimbridge Road. And practically, as most of the pickup and drop-offs are during the 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. period, and at that time, I've seen like there are nearly around 200 to 400 vehicles entering and exit, and it's a chock-a-block. The proximity of a full movement crossover, just being 30 meters away from the major intersection, will no doubt result in accidents, casualties at one point, and we can see it every week. I'm not sure how the traffic report has addressed that, because I don't think they've mentioned the actual amount of accidents or near misses happening. But as I live down the road, I can see it happening every day. And as you would have recently seen in the news that on the last Sunday Times, the Hale Road and Tonkin Highway has been designed as one of the major intersections which has traffic issues. So I once again request you to consider an alternate entry exit for the childcare facility, taking into consideration the safety concerns where passengers were mostly be children who walked to the school. And also the onus of responsibility of such accidents needs to be considered. I have no issue with the childcare or the development. It's just the entry from the Wimbridge Road, as it's just being only 30 meters from Hale Road. And it's a chock-a-block between 8 to 9 and 3 to 5. So just consider that when you finally decide on the outcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. Members, questions of Mr. Patel? No, just one question from me, Mr. Patel. At the conclusion of your presentation, you did indicate that you don't have any fundamental problem with the uses proposed, the commercial, medical.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with the proposal, and I'm very happy with that. But it's just the entry and exit of the childcare from Wimbridge Road, which is a full movement crossover, and that's where all the cars are banked up right in the morning and in the afternoon, and the kids cannot even cross the road. So this would be a major incident prone area down the line, and that's my only concern. If you can sort out the entry exit requirement of the childcare, right, like from the back or from a side lane or anywhere, then I have no issues with the actual proposal.
Thank you for clarifying that. Members, any other questions of Mr. Patel? No? Thank you for your presentation. Sorry.
Are you, Mr. Patel, are you aware that when they assess this, they take the measurement from the middle of the roundabout to the entrance in Wimbridge Road, and that does meet the requirements of being far enough away, being 30 metres? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but it's just 30 meters and it's a turn. So, a lot of cars from Hale Road, when they turn onto Wimbridge Road, the traffic is backed up. And if you put the entry just at 30 meters, so the cars would never be able to enter and exit, as it's a full movement crossover. And the cars are also coming from the other side of the school, dropping the kids off. So it's a chock-a-block. If you have seen, I don't know about the traffic report, how they assess it, but if you have standed there for 10 minutes at 8:30 in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you would realize what I'm saying.
Follow-up question, please, Mr. Presiding Member. Mr. Patel, statistics say that most people childminding don't drop their kids off at the same time as school. It's generally much earlier. So when you talk about 8:30, that is probably not the main number of cars dropping children off at a childminding centre. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that, but that's the main time when most of the kids are dropped to the school. And I mean, I would say from 8 to 8:30, people would drop the kids to the childcare and then drop their kids to the school. So there's a traffic blockage. If you have seen, if you have practically seen standing there between any day of the week, you would know it's a chock block, and then that's a very serious safety concern.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks.
you. If there's no other questions, Mr. Patel, thank you for your presentation.
Thanks very much.
Next presenter, Neil. Neil, have you also got Ben and Board Bar available, or?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't Transcorp. It was Irby as a traffic engineer.
No problem. Okay, so over to you.
Just 1 second, sorry.
Good morning, panel members and City and the public that are watching this. My name is Neil Teo from Dynamic Planning. We're the applicant of the proposed childcare and allied health medical centre at number 310 and 318 Hale Road, Wattle Grove. Firstly, we thank the city for their work in preparing the RAR. We have no issues with their recommendation. There is one minor point, which is a bit more administrative, is just in regard to condition 3, which we're seeking a modification to the reference to the correct plan. There was a revised site plan, which is revision L. The condition as it stands refers to revision 5, so it's just an edit to that. So the plan in front of you on the screen is basically the updated plan, and if you see in that bottom left-hand corner where there's a clouded red, that's really the changes that resulted from a site meeting with the city engineers. Just as we're talking about traffic, and the last presenter was talking about traffic, I'll jump straight into that because I think it's important to understand this site historically was a garden centre, a nursery, and up until a couple of years ago, the nursery existed. The nursery's been there since the 1980s because I grew up in the area and I used to go there. And the crossover where you see on Windbridge Road, that's where the entry was for the nursery. So this site hasn't, it's had access from Windbridge Road for a long time. We're not proposing anything new in that regard. The site meeting with the city engineers actually proposed 2 crossovers in the Hale Road because it was a great idea to ventilate the site even better, with the westernmost crossover being a left-in turn only. So in regard to traffic, effectively the traffic impact assessment that was being done, has looked at all traffic safety and technical requirements that city's engineers have supported. That's evident in their RAR as well. And another point I would make is that this site is commercial in terms of its zoning under the structure plan itself. The remainder of the site to the rear is mixed use, and this site has been planned for commercial and mixed use development for a long time. So I think some recognition needs to be given to the fact that on a site that abuts both Hale Road and Windbridge Road, you will get some traffic associated with the zonings that are expected and the land uses that will come with those zonings. To give you a bit of quick site context, effectively, this part of Windbridge Road right up to Linehan, the street there to the west there, where it says sort of west of the Aldi, this area forms what I call the Wattle Grove activity node. This is where, if you're living in the area, you're going to come here for your supermarket, your petrol, childcare services, and medical. They all exist in different green title lot arrangements. And I think this area has taken quite a long time to come to fruition. It's probably a result of, in the past, Welshpool Road was downgraded through planning processes and road planning. So the amount of traffic on Hale Road is actually reduced in the past decade. But effectively, we're at that point now where the residential population is there there is demand for the services, both the allied health medical and the childcare. There's a lease already for the childcare. The Cuddles is the operator for that one, and the pharmacy and the medical centre are both have a heads of agreement. So demand is certainly there, and it's evident through the development application, because we wouldn't have got to this stage if there wasn't the interest or the tenants secured. I won't dwell and waste too much time on the proposal, other than saying the eastern half of the site is being used for the childcare centre, and the western side is being used for the Allied Health Medical Centre. It's gone through the city's design review panel twice. That's largely resulted in some great improvements to landscaping and pedestrian connections from Howell Road to where there's a bus stop immediately abutting the site, and as well to a pedestrian connection to the corner roundabout intersection of Howell and Wimbridge. The site as it exists, these were photos that were taken last week. So it's been, the old garden centre nursery is gone. That's what it is at the moment. And the resulting appearance of what you see is basically those renders on the screen there. In terms of advertising, something's missing at the top of my screen, but I think it was 74% in terms of the submissions to support. So there is a majority of support. I'm not really one to focus on numbers too much, but I think it's important to appreciate that much of the commentary in the support was welcoming both uses. I do thank the last submitted for expressing his concern about the traffic, and I'll simply say that that's gone through a rigorous and thorough process from technical expertise from traffic engineers. There isn't concern. The distances from the roundabout are there. The roundabout itself is a traffic calming device. And I think, this site really does benefit from the fact that there is ventilation towards Hale Road as well through two crossovers as well.
Neil, I will ask you to wrap up.
I think I was right there. So in summary, we thank the city for their recommendation for approval, and really it's just that one minor correction to the condition referencing the planners that we're seeking, and just a reminder that all uses are permitted uses on this site. Thank you very much. Happy to take questions.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Members, questions?
We have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. I just one that, and unfortunately we've lost it. In terms of the site context, that image I think was useful to clarify that. Probably don't need it, but surrounding uses, I think locationally to the south, is that correct? Where that whole precinct? Yeah. Are you able to get it back, Laura?
Laura, can you grab the plans back, please? On this one. Sorry.
If you go to the image showing the context. Yeah, okay. So the uses to the southwest, predominantly commercial in nature?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, okay. And you pointed out earlier that the site is zoned commercial. Given the intent is always that it would be commercial type uses, from a traffic generation perspective, looking at the traffic report, it looks like those commercial uses are actually generating more traffic potentially than the childcare centre would.
Correct. I think it's important to understand that childcare centres, they're closed during weekends. After 5 p.m, it's not operating unless there's an emergency pickup. And in school holidays, they're closed as well. So traffic wise, childcare component is not a massive creator of activity. Yeah. And it's during the dwell times, it's not attracting much traffic either.
Okay. And it's probably a question I'll put to the city's officers in terms of recognising that that is a commercial precinct and there's likely to be some traffic congestion associated, which is normal around commercial sites. So in a sense, there's a form of traffic calming associated with precinct like that. But it's a question I'll put to the city's officers. Members, any other questions?
Probably not necessarily answered, but where was the funeral? I'm going to bed.
I mean, I'll answer that as much as I know, but I think the funeral parlour is on the property to the west of us. So that's a different
So
property,
it's
different
not
proposal.
located within this particular.
It's not part of this
Okay,
proposal.
all
It
right.
never
Just
was part of this
interested.
proposal.
I noticed that it said that it had been refused.
Yes, which was a bit of a surprise to us. We were actually dealing quite closely with the proponent for that, just in terms of traffic.
Yes.
But unfortunately, they did not have success through the planning process.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Okay, thank you. Members, no other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we now move to city's officers. Who from the city is able to respond to questions?
Tracy, they prepared the RAR. I can respond to questions.
Tracy, did you want to make any overall comments about the application, or are you happy just to respond to questions?
Just in terms of the deputation from the presenter, Mr. Teo, he is correct. I inadvertently put in the wrong revision of the plan, so the city's happy for that revision to be amended in the determination documents.
Condition 3.
Condition 3, to be updated to reflect the latest version of the plan.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, Regan Travers, the manager of approval services here as well, to maybe make a more general comment. The city has been working with the applicant for quite some time on this application to make sure that it meets the city's high standards for commercial development in terms of appropriate land use, responding to the site and its constraints, but also exploring its opportunities. We'd like to commend the applicant on a proposal that has taken on board feedback, both from city officers from a technical perspective and also from our design review panel, and incorporating those, many of those suggestions into the design. Overall, it's a proposal which is consistent with the anticipated outcomes of a planning framework for a site that was identified in the structure plan for commercial uses. There often is an expectation of the community that a development like this will have minimal or no impact on their lives. The reality is that an area that's planned for commercial development, particularly in terms of traffic, will have an impact on the nearby community. It's about what the acceptable level of that impact is. Through the technical reports and assessment, the city is satisfied that the application deals with traffic matters, is a safe development. It's well designed in that sense, and does not share the concerns of Mr. Patel, although it does acknowledge that Hale Road is a busy road. We are satisfied, and those details are in the responsible authority report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, questions of the city's officers?
No.
No, thank you.
All right, no questions. Thank you. We will now move to the item, and we have a recommendation in the RAR for approval. Someone to move the RAR recommendation. Thank you. Mayor Thomas?
Yes.
Mayor Thomas, can I just clarify, you're happy to move with that change to condition 3, so it refers to the correct site plan?
Yes, so condition 3, the city's happy to put in the correct updated plan as requested by the applicant.
Thank you for that. Can we have a seconder? Okay. Councillor Ritchie, you're happy to second that?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Mayor Thomas, would you like to talk to the motion?
I would. So this site for over 10 years has been a messy, sort of half vacant site, and the city's really happy that we've got such a good application coming in. There are 29 conditions and 11 advice notes, so we think we've covered all the things that we require for this to work well. And we're very happy that the applicant has really tried their best to do a nice development that is consistent with the planning framework. Some of the objections, I do understand Mr. Patel, but I think that as Regan Travers said, we have looked at the traffic and we can't stop it because we think it's fair. Some of the other objections are about market forces, which is not something that we can be involved in. There's the required number of parking, and all over, I think it's a really great development that's really required in this area, which has had a huge number of new residences and is quite ready for it. So I urge you to support it.
Thank you, Councillor Ritchie, did you want to make any comments to the motion?
No, I think the Mayor has covered all the points that I think are relevant, so thank you.
Thank you. Is anyone opposed to the motion?
No, I'm not opposed.
No? Anyone else wanting to speak to it?
I'll speak to it. I do remember when this was a garden centre, and I visited numerous times, and I'm delighted to see the proposal that's before us today. A childcare centre, a medical centre, a pharmacy fit very nicely into that commercial zoning, and certainly meet the requirements of the existing planning framework. It is inevitable that you will have more traffic generation, but I also note comments from my colleagues on the panel that childcare centres in particular are like schools. They're going to have a period where there's a lot of traffic and then large periods when there isn't very much traffic generated. I'm also delighted to see that we've got a childcare centre that doesn't have to, because of land constraints, go to 2 stories. This one, it's well designed. Your design review panel liked it and thought it was very appropriate. I think the uses are very, very appropriate there and will fill a definite community need. So I'm very happy to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment?
Look, briefly, very little to add. I think this is a good development. I appreciate Mr. Patel's concern about the traffic, but I think it's been really well dealt with. And I think given the nature of the site and its land use, it's entirely it's within acceptable limits. Certainly from a design point of view, I think they've paid a fair bit of attention to traffic movement on the site and in and out of the site. I think that all the experience with childcare centres traffic is it is actually spread over a very long time period. It sort of starts early in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning or 6:30 in the morning, and goes through the morning. So in terms of peaks, it really doesn't add much to the morning peak. And I think all of the experience on childcare centres that I've seen really supports that. So I think in summary, this is a very good development. I think I agree. It's the site certainly needs something like this, and the area certainly needs something like this. I think it's an interesting and well-considered mix of land uses. So I think we can happily support it.
Thank you. I'll also be supporting the motion. I think from the planning framework, it's certainly consistent. So I think it merits, it can certainly be approved. I can understand the concern about traffic, and with any redevelopment like this, you're going to have an increase in traffic. That's unavoidable, but I think also the roads have been designed to accommodate, and the traffic assessment reflects that, and the comments from in the RAR from the city's officers also. So on that basis, even though I appreciate it's a legitimate concern, but I think it's also been appropriately managed, so I'll be supporting it. Mayor Thomas, did you want to make any closing comments?
Nothing more to add, presiding member.
Thank you. Okay, in which case we've got a motion to approve subject to conditions, noting that we are actually changing condition 3 to refer to the correct site plan. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. Just finishing off this part of the agenda, item 4 is Form 2 applications. We have Neil. Item 5 is SAT reconsiderations. We have Neil. Members, that closes this part of the agenda. You're welcome to stay on, but we won't be offended if you choose to leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Great job.
So, okay, well, welcome everyone to part C of the agenda. Apologies for the delay, we had a few technical issues. So, first item is declarations of due consideration. Members, are you able to declare that you've considered the matters in part C of the agenda and part C related information?
Yep. Yes.
All duly declared. Thank you. Item 2, disclosures of interest. We've got Neil to date.
Oh,
Sorry?
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So we do have a declaration from Mayor Hamlin, who has participated in the council meeting where the matter has been discussed.
Yes.
And Councillor Jex, you're making this. Yes. Okay. Are you able to both confirm that you can deal with this matter with impartiality and not bound by the council decision?
Yes.
Yes, both declared. So in accordance with the standing orders, I am happy for you both to participate in the meeting and vote on the item. Are there any other disclosures? No? Okay. In which case we move to item 3, which is Form 1 applications and lot 3022 Montefane Parade, Port Kennedy, proposed tavern brewery short stay accommodation. We have one presenter, Adrian Dew from Lateral Planning, but we've got a big team here. Welcome. Adrian? Oh, sorry. No.
Good morning, presiding member and panel members. Thank you for the opportunity to present in support of the Long Point Brewery Development application today. I'm sure everyone's had a chance to review my presentation request, so I won't run through all of the detail. But as you'd be aware, at the previous DAP meeting, we do acknowledge that there were concerns from the city and the DAP relating to the vehicle parking and parking provided off the development site. Following the deferral, we engaged with the City of Rockingham Place Development and the state to resolve the outstanding items. The state's now provided in principle support for the inclusion of the easement over the golf course car park, and the city is supportive of the parking arrangements for the development and the broader Kennedy Bay Village. We also raised concerns at the previous STAT meeting regarding the wording of some of the conditions, which we've now also had a chance to resolve with the city, and that's reflected in the RAR. We'd like to thank the city for their time and willingness to engage to work through the issues that were identified by the panel and have the item presented back so promptly. and we request that DAP approve the development as per the city's recommendation. Thanks for your time, and we are joined by the team. I think we've got some people online as well, so happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Members, questions? Mr. Syme?
Yeah, look, thank you. Look, at the last meeting, the particular issue on public art was a major concern. And then I noticed that condition 14 now has a sub-clause 4 that requires you, that allows you to make a contribution to the rock and medical life service, etc. Maybe utilising the joint public realms. Now I know that that meets some of the issues that we identified last time.
Yeah.
I understand that you were looking to have that apportioned to get against artworks that have already been in place, or
yeah, that's correct.
So are you satisfied that this clause will meet that, because it sort of implies you need to pay again?
Yeah, we did discuss that with the city, and our client's happy that the wording of the condition, and the city's also happy with the wording of condition, that we can basically draw down on the works that have been done in the adjoining public realm to clear that condition.
Okay. So you don't have more money clarified, or?
If the panel would like to clarify it, we're happy with the wording on it as is, but if the panel would like to clarify it.
It'll be a question for the city.
Yeah.
Members, any other questions of Adrian or his team? I know we did sort of go through this at the last meeting. Just clarify, Adrian, you did say in your presentation you're satisfied with the conditions.
Yes.
Obviously, they've been modified since the previous RAR.
Yeah, that's correct. So we worked with the city at the meeting that we had following a deferral, just to run through all of the conditions, of a bit of back and forth, but yeah, happy where the conditions here.
Okay, all right. Members, no final questions?
No.
All right. Well, Adrian, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So it'll be David or Chris? Chris. So we've now moved to City of Rockingham officers. Chris, did you want to make any overall comments about the application?
Well, there's certainly been some movement with regard to change that's happened since the last deck meeting. So as Adrian mentioned, we did meet, we went through all the conditions that have been contested, agreed on wording which is reflected in the recommended conditions in front of the report. None of the changes are significant in our opinion. With regard to the public art, the RAR currently recommends the same wording that resolved last time round, to provide that either or option as to where the public art is actually delivered. But fundamentally, the city is comfortable as to where it ends up, either on the site or in the adjoining public realm. So we're satisfied with robustness, flexibility in that condition and way it's recommended, and the applicant seems to concur with that. So we're comfortable with that. With regard to the parking situation, there was some discussion last time about the ability to impose that condition over land owned by a third party, in this case the golf course land. So in terms of what's happened subsequent to that is that Place Development have been liaising with the department and now initiated a formal process to progress the creation of an easement over the golf course land. According to the department's correspondence, that process will take some time. It could be a 12-month process, but for the purpose of conforming this development application, the city demonstrated in the report that we consider there would be sufficient available parking in the public realm, certainly in the short term. And with regard to as the town centre evolves, that's when it comes more important to actually create the reciprocal easements over these other development sites to accommodate additional demand that will be generated then for parking. But for now, this is the first cab off the rank, so to speak, in the main street. So there's no competing demand for parking. So based on our numbers, we're comfortable that we can support approving this development application. Now, The flow-on impact on the conditions is that there have been a couple of modifications. There was an original condition between them, and it talked about the golf course easement requirement. That's now been deleted. Similar principle applied to another condition that previously requested an easement over, which was lot 4 within the town site. That's also been deleted and replaced with a condition requiring an easement to be created over the subject site, excluding 9 bays for the short stay car parking. So in the meantime, the LDP has been updated to more accurately reflect the process. So we think with the change that has occurred since the DAC met previously on this now, we're now in a much more comfortable position to be able to support this development.
Thank you. Members, questions?
Just a quick one, if I can just square away that public issue. The public, there is already some public art that's been provided by the applicants in the public realm.
I've not.
It's on its way to being there.
Yeah.
It's
certainly reflect on is a foreshore master plan which references.
That's a non-statutory requirement that was just there because it's part of their landscape.
It's effectively foreshore betterment.
So you can take that. You can take that expenditure as again this. Yeah.
Members, any other questions to the officers? No. In which case, we now move to the item, and we've got a recommendation in the RAR to approve subject to conditions. Is someone prepared to move the RAR recommendation? Mayor Hamblin? Councillor Jex. Mayor Hamblin, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, presiding member. Look, I just feel the city's quite confident that we're achieving the same outcome, but just with some changed conditions. I think in the RAR, the Department of Planning was supportive of the public access easement that was required by Condition 20. And as they've stated in some of the emails, they're happy to prioritise that request when possible. The city are confident that the shortfall in the parking can be addressed through the public bays and having access to private parking on the adjacent areas. I think from the fact that we discussed a lot of this before it was deferred, the change of conditions, about 6 or 7 have been removed. So we now have 16 quite appropriate conditions and 6 advice notes. So I think the city, and for me personally, happy that all of the issues have been addressed, and it will be a really good development for Port Kennedy. And I know for a fact that the proponents and the city have worked really closely to come up with a great outcome. So happy to move.
Thank you, Mayor Hamlin. Councillor Jex, did you want to make any comment?
Yeah, just to say I echo the comments by Deb Hamlin, and just to say, look, I think we've got looking at quite a good outcome here, potentially, and it's really good to see the way people have worked together. I feel much more comfortable now than I did last time around. There's been some good work done by the city officers and the projects as well. So I'm sits right with me, and I'm happy to support.
Thank you, Councillor Jex. Is anyone opposed to the motion? Anyone else want to speak to the motion? No?
Well, just briefly, look, this is going to be, it's been nicely executed design. I think it's been worked through the issues that we had last time. It's been nicely resolved. I think this will be, it looks like it's going to be quite a busy busy place, and it's certainly be a nice addition to the city. So I think we can.
So, look, I'll support the motion as well. Although we haven't touched on it today, in terms of the planning framework, it's an appropriate use and warrants support. In terms of development itself, it's located within a town centre, and I think it's an appropriate use. It'll activate that town centre, which is probably really, really important for it to be successful. In terms of built form outcome, we talked about that previously. I think it's an excellent response to the site and should be commended. The other aspect to this, which I think should be recognised, the work the applicant's done with the city officers to get it to this point so quickly. And I think dealing with parking, which was seen as a little bit of an issue, I think it's an integrated response reflecting, once again, the town centre location. So on that basis, I think that issue is well addressed, and I'm very happy to support the motion. Mayor Hamlin, would you like to close debate?
Nothing else to say, except when it's all up and running, I think you all need to come to Rockingham and enjoy this new area.
Thank you. So we thank you, Mayor Hamlin. Close the debate. We've got a motion to approve, subject to conditions. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you, members. So in closing off the agenda, item 4, Form 2 applications, we have nil. Item 5, SAT reconsiderations, we have nil. We move to part D, which is other business. Item 1 is SAT applications and Supreme Court appeals. They're listed on the agenda. Item 2, general business. Members, any general business? No. In which case, I will declare the meeting closed at 10:31. Thank you, everyone, for your participation, and good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see everyone.